Hello and welcome back to Fran Art Stream. I'm slightly late, at least, doing some work stuff, but honestly, it probably doesn't matter. I was going to do this different time. Figured I might as well kind of just show you my rough process of editing my scanned sketchbooks here. If you follow me online, you probably recognize this, I guess, evil snake, where it's funny drawing this snake. But in my sketchbooks, I made a whole new snake design. Pretty happy with this. I was actually going off a earlier fan art thing that kind of cool. Let me see. Yeah, hmm. Everyone's doing it, right. It's I should probably say, yeah, welcome to the stream. I'm a little off the wall at the moment, but yeah, welcome to the stream. This is Massive Brandon. The fine February 19th. It's been pretty chilly, but not as chilly as yesterday. Especially not as chilly as 2 days ago because it was real chilly right then. Yeah, it's been pretty decent. Fine, I think. But yeah, have going off this snake design, working off of this little design right, and it's actually a bit of an improvement because I had this fan art post of this design by other artist named Ghost Bright. You can follow him on Blue Sky. In fact, let me drop a link to his profile. You know what? While I'm here, I'll also shout out another artist who also did this whole sketch here. Also get a there's this other sketch that was done by Yo Dog on Blue Sky as well. This is a sick drawing of Cole right here. Using these shadow magic spell book, and I'm really happy with this. Like, it turned out fantastic. Got the buttons. Yeah, one thing that I guess me kind of like having a slight criticism is what his hair is supposed to be. Is supposed to be more of a slick back look, but I kind of attribute to me kind of just being a crap. Like, well, I'm not like being as specific with that, but that's a personal thing. Honestly, it still crushes. I love this. I love that. I love the glow. And so I'm gonna also share Dough Dog's Blue Sky, so follow them there. Sky. To find you. Oh, it's also XJ Kappa X as well. He's also he also has like other profiles on Twitter. He's Dough Dog. Yeah, I'll share his on Blue Sky because I am no longer on Twitter. I do not care to be on Twitter anymore. I'll just share those profiles as well. So follow them online because they're all over the place, I'd say. But yeah, I think to start, I'm gonna be working at getting this down because I did sketch this today. I figured I might as well kind of just get you nice and get this nice and out there. And it's kind of funny because I've been just struggling to work with this snake character. I again, I kind of just spontaneously think about character design. Most of them are enemy ideas, but a lot of them are world building. Okay, what would a cool snake look like? okay. Usually it's gonna be a fantasy animal character because fantasy animal thing. So it brings you just. I usually don't. I don't go into the future as good. I don't do modern day. I don't do the future as because I think the more modern day things get, the harder and harder it is to sort of justify these animals being around. But maybe that's just me thinking way too literal. There's plenty of like fur yard stuff that just doesn't really matter. And I gotta think about problems or fleas. But it is what it is. What I'm gonna do is actually going to this larger design with Photoshop because this is actually a flat image, but I usually will I like canvas size. Area now. Since it's unrelated, let's put this in a separate thing. And maybe like, yeah, come on. Stupid. I don't know what's happening personally. I feel like ever since I reinstalled Windows with a new graphics card, things have kind of just been unable to be aligned. I don't know whether it's modder or anything like that, but I kind of like feel like everything's not set up. That's fine. Anywho, this has been pretty nice here. And I do have a giant rigmarole tutorial on just, prepping my lineup. Prepping my scans, making sure they're actually prepping my scans to make sure they're actually in a decent spot. But I've auto actioned it and I want it down faster. So usually I will just have an auto action for all this stuff where have this automatically make for me. That's usually how I prep my art here. I also have a line art set up one. But this is always a nice way to kind of just have this stuff done. So I will save this as a pencil sketch here. They call you Tangle Snake. I'm gonna call you Tangle Snake Sketch. Me. I'll call you Tangle Snake Sketch. Actually made a line art variant of this character. Yeah. This character here is a line art variant of this Tangle Snake. Made a larger design with metallic helmets and larger spikes. I like Ghost Bright's idea of like having the axe like embed in its inner tail. I was like, okay, what if that was like part of the spine's inner tail and things like that? That would actually kind of rule. So, sort of did that, and I just made it the coherent theme of the entire thing. So, I think I'll kind of like do some super basic flatting, like new fill layer. Give it a nice. I don't know what's up with my graphics settings. Just like, bro, my tablet is in this middle section. Just probably could make this slightly more nude. Wee bit more warm. I kind of just messing around because right now I'm kind of a little stressed. Work. So I kind of just want a slight victory. Messing about with basic no-brainer stuff. Worst kind of alright, but I kind of just feel, I guess I'm feeling a bit checked out, where my brain's just completely turned off of most of this stuff. That will think of a different color here. Maybe bright green. I always think of green, but like four. Okay. And I'm just gonna do some real flat. Do I have the right brush? Yes, I do. And I'm just gonna do the fastest possible flat. Usually my flatting is pretty basic, you know, for the sake of just flat number 1, I will call you this and then save you as flat number 2, just in case it changes my mind. So usually I will just fill in a liner with this stuff. And this is me basically just doing really basic little art workflow stuff. It's pretty alright. I've been struggling to get this workflow fine in Procreate, because I always just feel self-conscious about workflow in Procreate. I was kind of like feel that I'm in a rush when it comes to my digital art efforts. Kind of just get this there if possible. I have so many pieces of line art that are just flat out not colored because I just get intimidated by the awful process of flatting my work, putting color, deciding color. Really, I shouldn't be fretting so much about it. I think one issue that I'm sort of psyching myself out about is that I'm rushing most of my steps. Like most of the time, I'm doing a million things at once. Thinking about it in terms of time instead of trying to rush every stupid little thing. Because honestly, I simply just don't like color process, honestly. Like, I like inking, I like interpreting my sketches into a pen and ink and stuff like that, but in terms of doing proper coloring, finishing, shading, rendering, all that stuff, I always feel that I just suck at it so much that I don't like doing it. And I feel like this is one of those like those negative feedback loops where, because I don't like doing it, I end up associating the process of doing it with things I don't like. And because I don't like it, I end up sort of doing it at a lesser quality because I'm less thinking about it in terms of a high quality thing and more thinking about it in terms of a high quality thing, but not thinking about it in terms of doing it in general. So I end up half-assing it, and then it ends up just looking worse. And then I confirm my biases that yes, this does suck, and then it ends up, a self-fulfilling prophecy with that. So And of course, there's also a whole host of other things. Because there we need to go to the next thing, because working on a single character without a story or anything kind of crap, especially where it's like you're spending so much effort on a character that'll probably just vanish from your memory. It'll just hold in your hard drive forever. I make so many character designs and I do nothing with them. I struggle to write these characters, like give them any like compelling deals. Okay, usually we'll give a character a want or a need. And then I'm like, and then I go to maybe a character writing template, try to fill out like a little questionnaire. It just feels like rote work. And me just not willing to explore these characters because I think, truth be told, I really don't care about these characters. Which is also a problem, because if I myself personally don't care about these characters, what would it say about just everything else when I create these characters? Alright, all these are lined up fine, and then bada bing, bada boom, it's flatted. So I got one flat. Save as. 2. Save. Go to the next step. And usually I will have these in a more like merge step type thing. Another thing that I tend to do is call this flats. Actually set it up so this is also colorful. But I also will change this to a color that either, well, actually no. Let's change this to something where I like slightly darker, and we can set it up so they're in. The one nice thing about basically setting up your art stuff, that you can basically just this is however you like. Here, this, it's kind of weird because I'm being unreasonably precious when shouldn't be. It's kind of funny because my coloring hand versus my drawing hand, it's very hard and very. It's very just heavy-handed as opposed to when I'm sketching. I'm light, I'm trying to be flowy, but really I just want to be heavy-handed because I need to get that color down. There we go with that. Let's see. I gotta ponder like, okay, what's a good thing? I just do Maya red. I usually should not have done something so complicated just yet, but because it's over the legs, right? Let's do the legs first. So, do legs here. Boom. And because you already build a line art here, let me make the line art vanish like this. Because you're doing stuff like here, I like make the line art slightly transparent so everyone can see. Because all the colors are underneath it, if you're printing it and it gets offsetted at all, you never need to worry about the colors getting misaligned or anything like that, because everything's already flat colored underneath. That's how comic artists tackle this stuff. You got full painters who can actually make paintings and they don't need stuff like this. I sort of do because I also don't like painting digitally. Like, I have done it a few times and I've been miserable both those. No. Yeah, I've been miserable just most of the times I paint. So that's a personal problem for me. Like I never like I I think that's I'm pretty sure that's why I'm such a mediocre artist in general. Will want to do anything productive. And a lot of stuff has kind of just contributed to insecurities about my art, to my life, stuff like that, where I'm kind of just looking at other people's art and realizing, wow, you kind of half-ass your work. You should do something more with yourself, otherwise you're just going to be left in the dust all the time. And it's kind of one of those things where I'm trying to convince myself to be like, Ryan, stop giving a shit about this. The approval of others will never ever matter, period. If you're trying to get the approval of an industry that would rather just watch you die forever, like most of the art industry is just going to AI, like everything's turning to slop and nothing actually matters. Why am I trying to appease some, I guess, company or thing that doesn't even care about my general existence? And I do ponder that most times. And it's easy for me to kind of just fall into cynicism with that, you know? It's also part of the reason why, you know, I guess I'm just so bored with my work, is because I guess I just don't have much to stay, because I'm like, maybe one day I'll get hired, but I'm 35, or at least not 35, but I'm like, what's it? 33. In 2 weeks, I'll be 33. Today's the 19th. Yeah, 2 weeks, I'll be 33 years old. 33 years old, and I feel like I haven't amounted. To let the existential dread set in as I'm not letting this go in, and then I'm basically worried about other stuff where it's like, oh, your thing's not as exceptional as you think you are. Never gonna amount to shit. Scared of fucking up. And I don't know why I'm so scared of messing up. Not like anyone's going to be looking. This. Turn this together out, okay. And this is good, you know, you're getting back to the flow, just doing stuff that's not worrying about how much you suck and just getting into just drawing the damn thing, bro. But that's kind of just what I need to do in general, is draw the damn thing, don't worry about nothing. To take your mind off of fact that you haven't done much, because you are doing stuff, or at least I'm doing stuff. Yeah, now I'm kind of just getting to psychoanalysis mode, where I basically just analyze why I'm so self-destructive, as well, not that self-destructive, like compared to everyone else. I feel like I'm not as exceptional as I wish I could be. And it's mostly because I just see other artists who are able to do more with much less. Meanwhile, I'm fucking sad because I have a stable job and I don't want that job. Even though, like, most other artists are like fucking dumb at the moment. like they would kill a man and throw him off a plane to actually just get another job. Meanwhile, yeah, but I just don't like my stable 9 to 5. I'm so sad and miserable. Like, I've got nothing actually to complain about, truthfully. Like, I am living a cushy life in general, at least compared to most people. You know, I've fed, I have a freaking, I have a roof over my head, I suppose. I'm completely destitute. It's like, this shit doesn't actually matter because no matter who I am, like, no matter who I am, I'm gonna still feel sad. Like, counting my blessings ain't gonna solve my immediate problems. It's not going to change my current moment right now. Like, oh yeah, I'm currently doing this fan art. That's not even fan art, it's just an original art thing during a stream. It's kind of like, yeah, what am I actually doing? I don't even know. Just flatting. I shouldn't even be fretting so much about this. It's just, I just working at this a little bit. I'll probably like tackle the actual proper coloring of this much later, because right now these are just really trash ink drawings. At least I'm flying through. Most times I'm not. Most times I'm kind of just plodding around with it. Very middling, really difficult to process thing. So yeah, that's me kind of just messing about with this, and it's a nice way to kind of just get somewhat productive. Most times I'm kind of unproductive, but this is where I could be slightly better than I really. Okay. Yes. Slightly darker, just so it can contrast more. And then probably like this higher. But this will be important much later, because the way I color is mostly like I look at tutorials on how a professional color flatter colors their work. Like, I just go off of his workflow. It's sort of a bastardization of Clip Studio Paint, because he mostly works in Photoshop, and I never took up with Photoshop. Like, even now, I have no reason to go back to Photoshop, but even then, I just felt like I sucked at using Photoshop. Clip Studio Paint, I guess the UI was clearer to me. There was more, I guess, brush settings that clicked with me more. Photoshop with me. I don't know why I just didn't like Photoshop for everything but image edit, but I guess Clip was more drawing friendly for me. I don't even know overall. No, actually, no. I do know. Because I used to use Flash back in college. Heck, I used like Flash 5 back in middle school. But I was making garbage tweens and watching view rounds instead of making animation, making a story. And I feel like that's probably, I'm still biting, still probably like eating shit from that. It is what it is with that. Okay. I am getting very elaborate, but this should be, I'm nearly done doing really basic flatting stuff. This is the most bare bones basic black color stuff that I'm even. In fact, let's just make this more here. Hue higher than, yeah, this even higher. Really lighter color, like you know, that's better. But make this color. And you know, it's kind of weird because I can do this. I'm doing this fine. I'm only doing this for the past, I'd say, let's see, I've been streaming for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I've basically just gotten basic flatting done for 45 minutes. And kind of just figuring out what the heck I actually do. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm kind of just messing around with some scanned art that I did a while ago. Have a fast redesign to give myself a small victory before I go to PixArt again. But yeah, kind of just going really wild with the colors just to see what the heck I actually want to do right now. And kind of just getting into little parts of the characters just to see what I actually want. Of course, I can clean this up a bit more. Just a bit. But this is helpful because I can easily select these flat colors, no problem. Then I could do things like saturate, depth, right, like saturate you, add even more depth. Or is a certain color. Looks pretty static there. And I could probably do some stuff where I probably nudge this. I could use. I usually don't use magic wand when I'm flat coloring, but if I'm doing very slight color changes to add some depth to everything else, I will sometimes use wand. Usually I just will flat color in general, but I think this will be helpful. And it's kind of weird because sometimes I feel like the lasso feels slower than feels slower than using the brush sometimes, but I'll probably like let this be a light. Kind of weird with that. Rock with this. Or in here. may add, like, tilt this more in blue. I like to figure out ways to kind of like make this more of a tangled depth thing, sort of. And I'll probably just color this as well, because, yeah, make that the same color. That way, I can actually feel like there's a bit of a continuity in that tangle. So far, so good. It's looking pretty great. If I want to, I could just let these colors go right here. Of course, I always feel like, okay, I should at least shade this, just so. A little bit there. Oh, it's one of those things where I just never know what the heck I actually want to do with my work when it comes to getting flats going. Lighter, and then that'll work. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now, because this one's much closer, this will be good. And then, because they're similar carolers, I can use my specific filling brush. It's not the filling brush, to change the colors as I see fit. So if I want to make them a red snake, that. Or I can select them all. I just made this a normal color overall. I've selected all the scales. And I could probably like convert you to a red color family. Of course, flip that around. Of course, if you want to change this character to a blue, get that no problem. Snake, who knows? But also, I never colored in the eyes, so we do that instead. I like the orange right now. Everything's nice and freaking neon. Like, right now, this looks like a nice black light poster. Like, if I did something with a line art where I could probably, work this line, probably make it darker, so actually contrast. It's kind of weird because it looks great with the blacks overall. Like, well, actually no. If it was a slightly darker blue, the rich black. Like, this is a decent black color in general. And if I want to, I could get away with this being a simple, like, black light poster. If I made this color also black, it actually looks aesthetic. Not bad, actually. Not terrible. Like, it looks straight out of like the NES and stuff like that. Probably do some extra things like add a white highlight to this. Like, do this. do something like that, and then it'll really look. I could probably do some really slight white. It's kind of funny. The more I'm working on this, the easier it's getting for me. I guess I'm just getting over my own personal anxiousness when it comes to doing this art. Just, oh, hey, I'm finally just getting out of my own head and just creating it. Sometimes I feel like I constantly overthink my own work. I'm always just mulling about and just overthinking every tiny little step because I'm not as confident as I'd like. I probably could have like put this as more of a this will be a nice aesthetic, as I could make this a poster, like an actual Blacklight poster, instead of all this wacky, like, I have a graphic style. I'm thinking that I never I unreasonably feel ashamed of having, where it looks like my art. A lot of people tell me that my art looks like legit old school game design books from, actual tabletop scans and stuff like that, or a dirty zine. I'm like, yeah, that is. I am. A lot of my work is influenced by old, but not as I guess not as influenced as I usually think. I think I think I'm influenced by indie comics, but I suppose the mainstream indie comics, like, I read a lot of Hellboy and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Blankets, and I read Bone, of course. Bone's my childhood. That's not really indie, but it was sort of indie, and sort of, I guess, not the mainstream comics. Is I got most of my comic knowledge, like, my Spider-Mans, my Supermans, all that stuff from the cartoons, because that's when, like, the Justice League and Radio Spider Blood and stuff like that turned on. So I never really got my superhero stuff from comics itself until much, much later. I guess I was in college and I was reading full collection, all the superhero stuff. In terms of like just general comic reading, I a lot of my work, I guess my general art influences are more in indie comics in general. Like, I was reading a lot of black and white comics, like more than just manga, but just my friend, I think he either worked at a comic shop or his I guess one of his brothers worked at a comic shop, and he was constantly bringing in some really pure indie comics. So that's how I learned about Title Maniac and Hellboy and stuff like that. That's pretty nice. I like newspaper strips in general. I think most of the Calvin and Hobbes, they're not the bound collections, but they're the I guess the initial paperback collections, where it collects like one of the names of the collections is like Scientific Progress Goes Boink, and that was the name of one of the Calvin Hobbes collections. So I had something like that. So that is I like comic strips like that. And I guess for the longest time I kind of just felt ashamed of those old influences, because see online, you're seeing people doing really well made painted digital art, or you're doing, razor thin anime line art. While I'm kind of just doing stuff like this, and kind of like, it looks all right. It looks different than most of the other styles, but it's not, I guess, everyone's taste. And I still feel insecure about not being as universally liked as I could be. I'm trying to get over that personally. I guess with social media kind of just turning into a garbage fire, I've been holding more of a personal, I guess I've been thinking harder about what I actually want to do with art, as opposed to teasing an algorithm or trying to get higher doing professional animation, comic work, or illustration, or freelance stuff, or whatever. And I guess I'm slowly realizing that doing that is useless. Like, I don't care as much because I'm not really updating my portfolio. I have a website, but I'm not really going out of my way. Yes, I want to be a storyboard artist. Here's my storyboard portfolio. Like, I just don't bother anymore. And I'm sure it's probably going to bite me in the butt one day. I don't bother actually applying to it. Plus, I'm working on Black Mass. I mean, might as well just give it a bigger shot. Just do more pixels. Like, if anything, if Black Mass fails, I can at least get a pixel art job, and they'll finally be able to have correct pixel art that's not completely breaking basic game aesthetics in general. Like, a lot of pixel art, when it comes to people doing a pixel art style, is like, they will reduce it in size, and that's all they'll do. They won't fix the jaggies, or it'll be that super blocky Atari art style. Like, it's always going to be the Atari art style. It's never going to be like a Street Fighter art style. Like, if it's going 16-bit, it's very likely they just took the drawings and scaled it down, and that's about it. Why am I so deep into this detail why am I so deep in the detail? That's also another problem. Because of digital art, I can just zoom in whenever I like. I can just go too deep on aesthetic of this, that can be easy for me to kind of just get lost in the weeds, when the real thing is this entire thingamabobber right here. I am not considering everything when it comes to that. Leave that there. Did I save you? Or save you? I did. Honestly, this looks pretty solid, actually. Like, I could let you go, but I will do this. And I'll have the screen just in case. Just in case I do change the background, this still looks aesthetic. This is a completely different flatting style, but maybe I'll post this. Like post this online. I wasn't super planning on posting it, but why not? I wonder. Make this red. Looks a bit like Haxorus sometimes, but looks a bit too much like Haxor. No. Yeah, breaks the humidity of it. This too. I do wonder if I should. I will mull this over. This could probably be. I think colors is this. Looks pretty cool. This actually looks all right. I'll mull this over. But for now, I'm going to take a break. I will be right back. And I'm back. Hello, everyone. Hey, Shawnee, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I'm in BRB mode. Yeah, I kind of like have a between stream thing where I just play YouTube videos that are in my YouTube thing. Basically just full YouTube videos in case anyone wants to watch. Probably should shorten them though, because it kind of like, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird because it makes people think that I'm actually still streaming when I'm really not. But kind of just, just a little between stream entertainment to kind of just keep things going. But yeah, welcome. I am currently just knocking out a bunch of art stuff. I'm getting some, I guess, last minute polishing overall and kind of just seeing what needs work, what doesn't need work. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, kind of just going through my frame, seeing what needs fill-ins, and usually I have this magenta out here, so just in case there's something outside the colors, I'll be able to catch that no problem. Noticing stuff like this head, little bitty things should make things much better with that. But yeah, I've been pretty decent. Hope you've been doing. I've been kind of just working on this commission, but I am nearly done. I'm seeing the I guess the finish line, so to speak. Well, actually no, because there's still some effects I gotta add that I've yet to figure out how to add. But it is what it is. It's mostly like just particle things. Like I want to give him a glow, and he's like slightly glowing and streaming with magic, stuff like that. It's a thing that I'm trying to like figure out later. Right now, I'm kind of just getting the general idea of this right now. Oh, I hope I didn't move this shoulder pad. Believe. Yeah, this shoulder pad used to be on this body, so I think if I stretch this shoulder pad, that's not gonna work. Yep. Okay. If I stretch this shoulder pad here, not really gonna work. But I can unlink you, put you back here, and that should be better. Much cleaner throw around. That's good. I think that's mostly what I gotta get down is like get the up. Yeah, completely. This bottom thing kind of changed a lot for me. Flattens up like this, turns like this, goes up here, vanishes. Morphs back into this because this is supposed to be hard armor. Of course, it's really difficult to design anime armors. Wasn't this? I swear this was. I think I accidentally moved you. Ah, well, it is what it is with this. Hopefully, this will be much cleaner. Let's see how you're looking here. Okay, so what I'm missing right now, the shading with the arm. Do this one step at a time. That's one tough thing that I struggle with when it comes to new things, lightning fads, because I'm constantly anxious about getting it done ASAP. I feel like the world is passing me by when it comes to just making art. Just of creating stuff, I suppose. Point here. You here. Let's see. I'm always constantly fumbling and figuring out, is this the close arm? This is actually the close arm. I feel like that disorganization contributes to my slowness, because a lot of my layers are not organized. Get this done faster. Because yeah, I'm kind of, well, actually, I probably knew this instinctually, but I put it to words. But I'm pretty sure most of the reasons why I'm so slow at this is because I'm so unorganized. Like most of, I guess, my loves are because I'm not organized, like, shortcuts as much. Like a lot of other artists, they can crank out stuff fast because they already have their tools just set up, so they need to deal with the hassle of, you know, dealing with their brushes or formatting their stupid, dealing with their redealing with saving or worrying about shit like, you know, whether or not layer naming and stuff. Most stars don't name their stars, just work. Like you also have just basic, you know, we have auto actions where you'll have it so it'll either, you know, get certain layers out fast as a macro, or it'll do, you know, specific things that only they have right now. It's kind of just one of those things where they can just crank shit out much faster than I can because they're much more organized than I am. Most of this art stuff. And at the point, I'm kind of like at this point where I'm kind of like, maybe I should just give up and try to do this. All it's really been doing in my life is stressing me the hell out. Like, it's just making me anxious, making me bitter, and not happy about just, I don't know, the process of creating art. It's always kind of just one of those things where art's supposed to be a fun thing in general, but a lot of times art can feel like it could be a miserable slog, constantly worried about whether or not you're creating anything worth the time. No, that's mostly a me thing. It's mostly me not really knowing what I really want to do with it. Yeah, I want to be a cartoonist, and you know, I want to be funny. You know, yeah, other artists who were actually remotely profound. You know, it's like with Kendrick Lamar, the Super Bowl thing recently. Like, it's basically legit, like making art, but truth be told, it's not. You know, it's not like the most revolutionary thing. It's not gonna like hand trans people rights or anything. It's just music, and it has got me like pondering stuff like that when it comes to my place in the world in general and what I do in my life. Oh, look at me. I'm here being sad that I can't draw pictures of animals. Stupid bullshit. Woe is me. While, you know, the world's on fire, everything's cold because the ice caps melted, and all the Arctic winds are now just blowing down. So we're basically on a countdown. I mean, I don't want to think so existentially, but that's kind of just the thoughts that I ponder when it comes. Oh, I'm sad that I'm not really doing art because there's just so much more important things to do. I mean, obviously, worrying about it's gonna do nothing because I'm not actively doing anything. Like, I'm not in a climate change group. I don't protest. I heard there was a protest in Chicago. I never even noticed it. Well, shit. Then again, thinking about it, I won't even enjoy. It was negative. It was -2 or something. Wasn't it Monday? It was freezing. I mean, more respect to them, but it's like, yeah. I guess that's just me. That's me kind of like feeling like my place in the world is a bit pointless. I can't just feel like I can't just mull about this too much. Hey, Shawnee, you're back. Nice to see you. Kind of just trying to not fall into weird existential dread right now, but it is what it is. Now I'm kind of just drawing. This actually, this will work. Thought I could copy and paste you, and it doesn't really work like that. It is what it is. Yeah, don't dread the accidentally challenge impossible. Oh yeah, and yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of like I'm probably feeling really sleepy, so and whenever I get sleepy, I get all existential thinking. What's your actual place in the world here? Yeah, you're making art, I suppose, but you're not a scientist solving the global climate change, bro. You know, you're just a dude drawing stuff. And sometimes, sometimes you kind of like feel like your job is kind of unimportant, or, what you do as a personal passion isn't really helpful for any. Like, you don't really have, I guess, marketable skills or survival skills. Skills are not, I guess, fluff pieces in general. That's yeah, of course not. It's kind of just one of those things where I bowl about it sometimes. I'm realizing if I'm just gonna be mulling about it and not doing shit about it, like, why bother? Why worry about this if you're going to do nothing about it? And to you, I say, because it's there to worry. Like, you're not the one not in my shoes. I'm the one still here. I'm the one who has to walk around, go to my job, pay bills, and deal with eating food, even though I would like to not. No, it's weird. It's one of those things where it's like, I am unreasonable for non-logical reasons. But I'm kind of just rambling. I am definitely just rambling. It's tough, honestly. Probably should just shut the hell up and let the music play, It's a nice jazz mix of Kirby Superstar by what's it, 8-Bit Band. Maybe it's Super Soul Bros. I can never separate those. Yeah, but Super Soul Bros. I used to have it so the music would display what's currently playing on VLC, but for some stupid reason, it completely turns off. Is this stripe here? Yeah. To get rid of that stripe. Oh yeah, Spring Yard Zone is really good. I like their Redemption of Spring Yard Zone. I also like their Earthbound. I really like their Earthbound. And it's in the shuffle somewhere. But yeah, Super Soul Bros is really nice with that. Same with 8-Bit. Really like jazzy renditions of it. I'd love to go to MagFest one day. MagFest is usually at the butt end of the year. Never remember that MagFest is happening. I think the last MagFest, or like this year's MagFest or something like that, they had a Shoji Meguro, or whatever his name is. Or no, he's the other composer, but he's like the rapper who does the Persona music. And he was there. I was like, oh man, I should check that out. So I want to actually see live action game music sometimes. I know what's his name? Hideki Nagikuma, like the Jet Set Radio DJ. Would he be a DJ for Jet Set Radio? Who knows? He will sometimes show up with them. Yuzo Koshiro. Like it's a music and games festival, and I think it's in Seattle, if I remember right. I don't remember, but that's that's one of those. That's one of those, I guess, wish upon a star convention that I've been curious about just attending. I don't even care about tabling. Like, I'd love to just walk someday and kind of just check out the live music. But I don't have stuff. I guess I don't have much of a reason to be Seattle. Like, I don't really want to buy a hotel room, which is, of course, you get a hotel room if you're going out of state. But I think that's just the miserly person being like, if I don't have a business reason to be out and about, I don't want to be there. So I should apply for a table. Like, it's impossible to apply for a table. Like, I'm sure it's a bunch of stuff. But actually, no. A lot of my work isn't video game related. Taking commissions. It's kind of just one of those things where I probably wouldn't even be able to get in, sell to justify getting that ticket, or sell to justify the table cost. Like, I considered tabling at Combo Breaker because I got privy to Combo Breaker, just a fighting game tournament, also just being a friend. And it's like, yeah, like there's artist alleys at fighting game tournament. Oh shit, really? I should hit that up. Unfortunately, I don't really make fighting game fan art, but then like my marker commissions, and they're kind of out in the ether. Like, I had these marker sketches of Chun-Li and Cammy that I left at a gallery, but I never really just asked for them back because, honestly, I'm gonna be truthful, I don't really care where they go. At least they're out of my house. They're not in my drawers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure there'll be nice rare collector's items or whatever, but it's like, I'm not super keen on keeping the stupid Chun-Li and Cammy fan art pieces, because I think I don't vibe as much with fan art, because if I'm really a fan of something, I'm more likely going to make a homage over it making fan art. So usually whenever I make a character ripoff design, like whenever I'm making new character designs, like I have this Fox character who looks almost exactly like that one villainess in Yatterman. I forget her name, but she looks like a dead ringer for that character in Yatterman. It's mostly because I just had a casual interest in just seeing. I think I saw a few episodes of Yatterman. That was basically just why those characters were just in my head, because she and think like those two guys, Bojack and Tanjiro, maybe, probably not. It's those two guys. They look like Wario and Waluigi. Like those two, like they are, I guess, that trio that like this anime villain trio that inspired like Team Rocket. And like if you encounter an anime where you'll probably have like a big femme fatale, then two like shorter thug minions, they're likely inspired by that Yatterman villain trio, like in most animes. Like you'll probably notice if you see a few other animes, or at least that's Team Rocket's probably the most Team Rocket's the most obvious connection to that. But yeah, you look up Yatterman to Team Rocket, it's exactly 1-to-1 in terms of the nature of those villains. Like look up those villains and you will see them as dead ringers for not just Team Rocket, but also Wario, Waluigi, all that stuff. Like when I saw Wa Peach, like that one concept of Wa Peach, I was like, yeah, that would go. That would be the direction they would go if they did make a Wa Peach, because she looks like a recent rendition of a Yatterman anime, or sort of a Yatterman. It wasn't a reboot, but sort of a reimagining where the villains are like the protagonists, and the Yattermen are kind of like evil robots at the moment. That's kind of one of those things where Wa Peach looks like the protagonist of that, I guess, reboot. Like I think it's like Yatterman something. Yoru no Yatterman or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, like if you've seen Wa Peach, she looks exactly like that character. And honestly, like a general like Wa Peach, I'm pretty sure would have looked like Duranjo or whatever his name is. If Nintendo was like, yeah, we're just gonna make a Wa Peach, why the hell not? Of course they didn't go into it because one, they're not making another Mario Tennis game, and two, Wa Peach, and she looks so Y2K. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Missing it. Yeah, you keep diving in and you just keep finding new things that are just like, I'm only gonna notice this for a frame, but I'm gonna notice it. It's like, if it's in motion, you're never gonna see that frame. But I'm like, I'm seeing this frame right now, and I can just stop at that. I can just tell. I'm sure if you were putting this on another background, you'd never notice, but it's like right there. I'm like, oh, it's kind of there. If I made a new background that was like, yeah, a new background. Yeah, like in this frame, I notice. I don't know why, but I just notice. Like no matter what, I just notice that. So I'm not gonna. I'm gonna. No, I'll fill it later because I am nearly done with the arm. Now that arm still looks a little floppy, but yeah. But yeah, Yatterman, Wa Peach, and just anime influences where it's like, if I'm ever doing, I guess, if I'm a fan of something, I'm probably going to reference it in, my work instead of spending a lot of time making fan suppose. I mean, I'm not against making fan art, but I think I would rather take fan commissions over doing, I guess, drawing other characters for free, especially if it's like owned by a corporation. I mean, that sounds like hipster as hell to me, but that's kind of, I guess, my own personal maybe life thing. Like, there's been a few instances of like people getting sued, conventions where you just have fucking asshole lawyers actually just walking through artist alleys handing people ceases and desists, and it's trash shit right there. And it usually happens at the larger shows, honestly, like your C2E2s, your San Diego Comic Cons. But I'm sure something smaller, like, well, here I am thinking Anime Central's small, but it's not really that small. It's one of the I think Anime Central's the largest anime. No, I think that the LA one, Los Angeles one's bigger. Anime Expo? Yeah, Anime Expo. I think Anime Expo is larger than Anime Central. But yeah, it's still pretty large. So, you know, I'm not expecting lawyers to kind of like show up there, but it's like one of those things where you don't need to worry about it until they want to make an example of you. And I don't want to be on the butt end of that stick. Plus the absolute rigmarole of all that stuff. Kind of like, you know what? I'm creative. I can think of my own shit. Like, I don't need to spend so much time on one dealing with the flavor of the month, like guessing, oh, what's the seasonal anime all the kids are into? And you'll end up putting yourself into a cycle where you're not really caring that much about the media you're consuming because you're just consuming the latest thing and then making content on the latest thing. Like it's making, I guess, getting into that cycle of making constant fan art is very content brained to me, where you're not really enjoying the show as much as you're kind of just in content about the show because other people get into it, instead of, you know, the best way of engaging with other friends who have the same interests as you, and you're bonding over just that shared interest. And it's kind of like, at that point I might as well kind of just do my own thing and just build my own community. And, you know, and honestly, I feel like most other, I suppose, I don't know, auteurs, not auteurs, but like I don't see people who create big stuff make, I guess, fan art of other people's stuff. Like, they'll probably make a homage, or they'll make a sly little reference in their own like personal thing. Like, if they're making a if they're making a comic and stuff like that, you'll probably have like a slight little reference where you have like a cameo appearance by that fan character or whatever, and like stuff like that. Yeah, Kojima, for instance, yeah, his stuff has loads of, yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of Kojima's stuff is just references to movies he has. And it also like goes into like a lot of the creative stuff. Like, when you look at JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like the initial like part 3 Stardust Crusaders arc and stuff like that, each villain from like, I guess before they reach Egypt is a reference to a horror movie. So you have like the Fly stand, what's it called, Strength or Superfly or something like that. I'm trying to like think about like which tarot it is, but it's like the Fly stand in the plane. I believe it's a reference to one, it's a reference to the Fly, but it's also I think one of those airplane disaster movies and stuff like that. And basically they have to beat the stand user before the plane crashes, and that's kind of just how they that's kind of just how Araki tackles a lot of like notable movie references. Is he'll either like shout it out or he'll kind of like take concepts from that and kind of like work it into his own. There's also what's her name? Centerfold or Jay Guile. Like she's the old lady that serves Dio. I think the fortune teller, what her name is, but she has the power to use the fog around the buildings to summon zombies, and that's a reference to the fog. That's kind of pretty rad with that. You have the gorilla, where it's a reference to I think like Titanic or Moby Dick or stuff like that. It's not a gorilla, but it's an orangutan. And I think it was just him like having fun with animals. I don't know if he saw a movie of orangutan, because maybe he would have seen like something like Dustin Checks In or something like that, where it's just a random ass orangutan movie. Let's add some shine with these, then let this gauntlet go. Oh yeah, you just have a lot of notable art things just being references to other media instead of just outright, you made fan art online, you posted it, and you'll get like, you know, like 50k likes for that for the day. Then you go back to your mundane art life. It's kind of like, I guess if you're chasing for the high of making fan art, I suppose, and getting clout online, but I'm starting to realize that it's probably preaching to the choir to say this, but there's more to life than getting likes, and I do need to remember that. Is just because you're not constantly making fan art doesn't mean that your work doesn't have value. That's always one of those things I kind of just struggle with. But, you know, in terms of, you know, wanting to just enjoy the medium of making cool stuff, mostly why I prefer like making homages over making fan art. Is not just most of, you know, I'm exploring stuff that I like through me making my work. So a lot of my character designs, I feel like they aren't super unique. Think about, I guess, the things that I reference. I will reference old RPGs that I've tried out or I like looking at the art of. You're probably going to see a lot of Shining Force in my Anthro designs, because Shining Force has amazing Anthro designs that I never hear in the conversation of, I guess, Anthro characters. But, you know, Shining Force is pretty, well, maybe like Sega people will know about Shining Force, but it's like, Shining Force is never really in that conversation when it comes to strategy RPGs. There's also Breath of Fire. Like Breath of Fire has some pretty nice designs as well. That, I mean, obviously it's Capcom. Of course they would have amazing. But it's like, for an RPG though, like nobody ever. Well, some people do. But it's like Breath of Fire doesn't come up in a lot of RPG stuff. That's kind of a shame, because Breath of Fire is, you know, obviously it's a nice game series. Well, actually, I've never played Breath of Fire, so what the hell am I saying? I should just remedy that. I just look at a bunch of his art books and stuff like that, and I just him is by just those cool character designs. Try it out, because yeah, a Capcom RPG, I should be all over that. Like, Capcom makes great fighting games. They should be able to make a solid RPG. They can't miss. They probably can miss because they had basically the Xbox 360 era, so they do miss. It's not that they can't mix, it's that, you know, Capcom can do some real stuff when people can do well with that. You know, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, Breath of Fire has nice graphics. You know, I hear it a lot in the conversation of really amazing Super Nintendo. So I do want to try out Breath of Fire for just that simple reason. You know, I like Chrono Trigger, so let's try that out. You know, the Super Nintendo was just the console for RPGs, just like the PlayStation was the console for RPGs. So I guess the PC would also be a console for RPGs, but of course, you had to be rich as fuck to play a PC RPG. Like, back in the day, if you think computers are expensive today, just imagine how much a sound card costs in, what's it, 1992? Well, actually, no, something more mainstream, because I think 1998 was like a humongous thing. Yeah, PC game was hella expensive in the 90s. Because yeah, like, you had like a lot of old PCs like hit the 700s and stuff, like an old Dell with like 8 megabits of RAM, not 8 gigabits, megabits. Like, it was piddly compared to like these beast PCs today. They're actually kind of a fraction of the cost. Like, my 1080 was like 300, and it can run graphics that are well beyond anything that you'll see. Like, how many thousands of dollars in 1996 did you need to spend to play Quake? Like, thinking about that with inflation as well, because I bet that's even more. I remember there was a report where they said that we actually pay less for games today than we did back then. And that is insanity to me, because yeah, I'm so used to thinking about games being like $50 or $20 and stuff like that. Of course, it's now fucking climbing. But yeah, games just were, you know, games cost a pretty penny, because you were basically getting whole new graphics or a whole new like experience and things like that. Yeah, on the plus side, distribution is cheaper. Oh yeah, no cartridges. No need to stash things in stores. You don't have to like share the revenue with, you know, with like Walmart and Target and stuff like that. That also means that more niche games would actually be able to get shelf life and be pitched easier. You know, that's also why the indie game market just exploded, because you didn't have to put them on shelves, and then you could actually like make a more obscure niche game with that. Like, you would not be able to get Stardew Valley. Well, actually, you probably could get Stardew Valley on a shelf. What's something more obscure? You couldn't put Hylics on a shelf. Like, if there was the equivalent of maybe like A24 or something, where it specializes in super niche stuff. I don't know what would be a game equivalent to A24 or something like that, but that's what maybe Devolver. Devolver's kind of, that's sort of in their wheelhouse, where Devolver is a publisher that, you know, that publishes the super niche hero games that have a certain flavor to it. Indie games were a cultural change too, in my opinion. My memory, Katamari Damacy was the first cool $30 RPG. Oh yeah, like, I love that, I guess, era, like that PlayStation 2, GameCube, Nintendo DS era, where they had games that were just simply the most different. Like, you know, there was games like Odama and not Okami, But it was like, it's a pinball strategy game where you're playing pinball while commanding your troops on the Nintendo GameCube fight. And I want to try that out. I've never been able to find that game anywhere because, you know, it's a peripheral game that requires just so much stuff. I'm sure it's hella rare. But, you know, stuff like that, kind of Mario Damasi, Mr. Mosquito on the Xbox. Oh, Hotel Dusk on Nintendo, on the Nintendo DS. Because, you know, you had the DS and then you're solving mysteries you had put to the side. And that was pretty fascinating. There was there was a bunch of like DS games. You remember Rub Rabbits? Rub Rabbits was on the Nintendo DS game, and it wasn't a dating sim, but it like had that tone where, you know, you were a dude trying to like meet with a lady, and it was strange. Rub Rabbits. It's probably a hallucination, but I remember like seeing that a lot in Nintendo Power magazine. I was like, huh, that is a fascinating Nintendo DS game. And there's like, you know, you got things like Pac Picks where you draw the Pac-Man and then you would gobble up the ghosts as you're drawing a Pac-Man. That was strange, but kind of cool. I have a better memory of the Nintendo DS than most people do, because I guess I was a dude who was like, yeah, I'm an artist, I'm gonna be drawing on stuff. I didn't really use PictoChat because I didn't really have friends. Like, PictoChat would have been a better sell on the 3DS than the original DS, because Wi-Fi was more available, like the Wi-Fi infrastructure. Yeah, apparently Chrono Trigger in the US was sold for 80. What? Chrono Trigger was sold for $80 and $90 back in the day. That would be a $190 today. Oh my god. Because, like, related, like Grand Theft Auto 6 was said to be what might be $100. I'm like, fuck that noise. I don't want to pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, I probably won't play Grand Theft Auto in general because I don't really care for Grand Theft Auto that much, but it's like that much for Grand Theft Auto 6, man, they are nickeling and diming you, but it's like, yeah, you're still paying way less than freaking Chrono Trigger. Especially since Chrono Trigger comparatively is an obscure RPG, even like back in town, because Chrono Trigger is one of those games where it's like, in Japan, it probably would have been a gigantic deal because you had, you know, the Dragon Ball artist and the Final Fantasy game designer, and Uematsu did tiny parts of Chrono Trigger, but didn't do the entire soundtrack. But it was just this giant dream team, like the Final Fantasy devs and Dragon Quest devs just together in a giant, like, super epic RPG. It was a big deal in Japan, but in America, it's like, it's still an obscure thing. It was like, nobody's ever heard of Chrono Trigger. I'm playing Sonic and Madden. That's, I guess, the general public. Yeah, I hear it's rare. I pay full price. Yeah, it's rare. I pay full price for a game these days. I want to play the Indiana Jones game, but I'm waiting for it to drop to 40. Yeah. I think the last game that I've actually paid full price for was the remake for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and that's about it. Well, actually no, because previously I paid full price. Well, actually no. I play a lot of Nintendo games full price because you're always gonna need to get a Nintendo game full price because they'll never lower those prices no matter what. But it's like, yeah, most games I don't really get full price in general. if it's not a Nintendo game, I'm probably never gonna get it full price or at launch or nothing. What's the last game I actually like? What's the last non-Nintendo game I actually bought at launch? I can't really think of one real. Maybe Shin Megami Tensei 5 on the Switch. Yeah, probably that. That's probably the one non-Nintendo game that I actually bought. And then of course they make the fucking remake, and I'm like, man, fuck Atlus for this. Like, I knew Atlus did this too. Like, you know, Atlus tended to have this habit where they would make the initial, you know, Atlus RPG. You have like the original Persona 3, but then they'll make Persona 3 portable with more stuff in it, and it's on the PSP. And then they will make the PlayStation 2 Persona 3, where that has more stuff, plus even more stuff after that. It's kind of like you're buying 3 games 3 times in order to just get those extensions. And it was a little annoying, like, at this time, because I think yeah, when well, actually no, even the remake of Persona 3, they were doing that, where, wait, no, I think Persona 3, like the newest remake of Persona 3 was the last time they did that, because I know they now are just doing DLC. Like, they used to not do DLC, and they would just make whole new games that were just basically expansion packs. It's kind of like, motherfucker, I already blew so much, I should not be buying your new games full price. Because they did that with Persona 5. They did like Persona 5 Strikers. And then they had like Persona 5 Royale. There was no DLC for Persona 5. They just made a whole new Persona 5. And they also did that for Shin Megami Tensei 5. And they did that for the remake of Nocturne. Like, no, actually, they started new DLC for Nocturne. I think that's when they actually started realizing we should do DLC instead of just completely remaking a whole new game. So I think Nocturne was the actual start of them actually making DLC, because I remember Dante being DLC, so you could actually choose between choosing Dante or choosing Raidu. It's kind of weird, because even though I think Dante's really cool, I still would pick Raido over Dante, because I feel like it's more, I don't know, canonically canon, I suppose. It's more of a, I guess, correct crossover, where, you know, you have both Atlus games just crossing over instead of just, you know, a random Capcom game, I suppose. It is kind of rad, because Dante showing up in Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, the demon designer for Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne also designed Dante and Virgil's Devil Triggers in Devil May Cry 3. And they are amazing character designs. Like, those Devil Triggers look exceptional. So after I beat Dante, I was sped. I quit the game right there. Yeah, because Dante was basically at the end. Like, it was like, yeah, you were nearly at the end when you were to encounter Dante. He's kind of a, it's kind of interesting, because Dante is one of those, like, too good to use. Well, actually, no, because Dante, so for that edition of the game, the final boss, he actually had an elemental weakness that actually didn't make Dante as effective as using any other demon. It's kind of like, okay, you know, well, if you've played Nocturne, then I'll just say it, like, Lucifer is the final boss. Like, well, actually, no, I probably spoiled that, but it's like, you play Shin Megami Tensei and Lucifer is the final boss, and I believe he actually has an elemental weakness to pierce, and ironically, Dante has no pierce moves, so kind of gimping yourself if you put Dante on your team, because you're not gonna be as effective. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not going back to Nocturne. Yeah, Nocturne is tough. Let's say I played a little bit of Nocturne and I was managing, but yeah, it can be it's one of those pre-Shin Megami Tensei 4 games. You're really feeling the age, because this is before you're able to actually choose the demon skills. So it can be a nightmare actually getting good demons. Yeah, glad I played some of the SMT games so I could see Persona's origins, but damn. Yeah, those games. It's kind of weird because you have a lot of elitist people being, yeah, these games are for the hardest of hardcore games. Was like, well, I do value my time a little. And a lot of people will be like, yeah, you should like play the exceptional mainline series, which, I'm not against. Like, I feel like the mainline series goes through more philosophical depths than Persona does, personally. Like, obviously it goes through the nature of like, gods and deities, what it means to a god, or what it means for gods to rule over humans, having humans decide their fates without being like wiped away by gods who disapprove of humans' decisions, things like that. It's kind of like, it's kind of interesting with that. And Persona can tackle that, but a lot of times it lets some things kind of like slip away, because it's still kind of one of those high school franchises. Like, it still needs to be, I guess, the teen drama thing over, I guess, very existential philosophical questions. But it is what it is with that. There's also I do also want to try the Devil Summoner games, because that's where Raidu Kuzunoa is, the sword dude with the cape. He's the other like Dante character, and he has a bunch of games where it flat out canonically says the entire Shin Megami Tensei franchise is connected. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like Persona, Devil Summoner, Devil Survivor, it's all connected. And that game just flat out says it. And it's kind of like, okay, I should at least see that in context. I want to at least try that out. And I hear that's on Steam, but I don't know for sure. Like, there's a lot of Atlus games that aren't on Steam. Like, I would love, well, they probably can't, but I would love for them to figure out how to get Trauma Center on maybe like PC or something like that. Because Trauma Center is also that era of old DS games that were just super experimental. You're seeing game design kind of like be, I guess, more out there, because you're messing with the interfaces of the DS and stuff like that. So Trauma Center was just among those things where it's like, I don't even, if Trauma Center is extremely experimental in general. Also, there was also what was that other game? There was Trauma Center, there was also trying to remember. Maybe Catherine was also in that era, but it's a few years after that. Yeah, maybe Trauma Center needs to be ported to mobile or something if it has touchscreen gameplay. Yeah, Trauma Center has touchscreen gameplay. So, it should be able to be on phones. Like Atlas isn't a stranger to phones. I don't know if Trauma Center is on phones, but probably should be, because Trauma Center would be an easy touchscreen game to do. Because I know Ghost Trick is also on phones, and that was also a pretty rad DS game. Like Phoenix Wright got big on the DS. I keep forgetting as like Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton was where they just got humongous. As I think Phoenix Wright was the Game Boy Advance game. Then they got translated on the DS and taken to America, and they just got huge because it was. I'd say this was also, I wouldn't say like an explosion moment, but it's like, I'd say the DS really contributed to, I guess, visual novels hitting in America. I'd say I feel like the DS really contributed to visual novels kind of just hitting harder, because there were a lot of visual novels outside, like on Japanese PCs and things like that, but because they were on Japanese PCs, America never really had those visual novels and stuff like that. I think some games had visual novel elements. Like when you think about Metal Gear's codec calls, those are basically visual novels. Like it's the same like text box at the bottom, and you have two talking heads yapping to each other. Obviously, it's like a radio frequency thing, but if you reworked that art, it would be exactly like a visual user interface. But nobody's ready for that conversation. But no, it's like elements like that. Yeah, you go far back enough, PC gaming, then there were text adventures. Yeah, exactly. Like text adventures, all that stuff. Like, yeah, visual novels and like just text adventures in general will probably just explode in popularity because, well, I don't know if the DS is the sole reason, because I think there were a few DS games on the PSP. There were a few visual novels on the PSP. Did Danganronpa show up in the PS3? I'd have to double check. Yeah, Sega had a rare but awesome US Sega CD version. Yeah, that too. Like Trauma was on the Sega CD. What else? Natural was on the Sega CD, and a lot of people like that. What other things would probably be visual novel adjacent? Yeah, like other than text adventures and maybe like point and click adventures. But yeah, it's like I feel like the DS really contributed to people liking visual novel. Of course, I saw the Tim Rogers, it's not a review but a retrospective of Tokimeki Memorial. I'd never even heard of that game until he did that review. And I've watched all 7 hours of that because, one, I watched in chunks. Like, no one watches video essays in one go. They watch them in chunks. I don't know anyone who's actually seen a thing. Well, actually, no. If it's 2 hours or less, it's like a movie. But like, if it's more than that, they're probably like pausing in the middle. Oh yeah, Tokimeki Memorial was pretty notable. I only checked out some Japanese VNs when there were loads of anime adaptations of them. Oh yeah, that's true, because if I remember right, there was a what's it, Type Moon or something. I don't remember the actual name of it, but I think Type Moon and Fate's Day Night were visual novels first, and then they became like, I guess, notable anime franchises in general. I kind of sort of understand Fate enough. Like, I understand Fate enough that I made some Monty Python references, but it's like, that's my end all be all of Fate, I suppose. Like, I don't really like know a lot of the deeper lore of Fate other than, I guess, collectible historical figures like Pokemon, but historical figures, and they look like anime pretty people. Like, that's how I've seen Fates, and obviously it's probably, it's probably completely different to other people, but that's how I've seen Fate. Pokemon, but with historical figures, which is also Shin Megami Tensei, Pokemon, but with, mythology. So it is what it is with that. Fate is kind of one of those franchises where you can amass endless useless information about its lore. So it's like Warhammer. Where you end up kind of like learning about Warhammer against your will. Where it's like, okay, so Warhammer is sort of a pastiche of every sci-fi thing imaginable because, it's a tabletop war. It's not even a tabletop game, it's like a war game where that's a whole other can of worms with that. I know that with you. Fate and Warhammer, and what's also another like franchise that just has beyond incomprehensible lore. I would say Kingdom Hearts, but I feel like Kingdom Hearts lore is more of a matter of you need to actually play the games in order to understand the lore. Because, Kingdom Hearts is actually amazing at keeping all of their stuff together. Because they will put all their remakes in like, Kingdom Hearts packs. So you have like Kingdom Hearts 1.8, 2.8, and 3.8. And 1.8 will include both 1 and Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance. It is like a remake of Chain of Memories where it's not on the Game Boy Advance, so you don't actually have to get a Game Boy Advance to play the original Chain of Memories and get the story. You just get 1.8 and you'll get the entire story of 1 up to 2. Then you play 2.8 and you get not just Kingdom Hearts 2, but all like the spin-offs of that 2 era. So you have like, 365 or blankety, but it's like it's a remake, but it's in that pack of 2.8. So if you actually play those games in release order, you'll get all the Kingdom Hearts lore. It's not crazy complicated. Because the only thing you really need to know is the main bad guy has a lot of plans, and he is basically throwing the main good guy in a loop in order to finally defeat him. Like, that's basically the gist of a lot of Kingdom Hearts, is just the main bad guy and the main good guy have the ability to basically reincarnate themselves into alternate bodies. It's like a lot of this is the good guy, well, Sora, I'm gonna say that. Like, Sora, Sora has the ability to basically like, make alternate incarnations of himself to other spots, like the main bad guy, Ansem. Or what's it? Yeah, Ansem, that's his name. And yeah, Ansem, he can constantly like put himself in alternate bodies, and so can Sora. And that's basically the gist of how that conflict works. Yeah, any Asian gacha collection game with a zillion characters has a lot of lore, where it be Kentai collection ship girls or what have you. Touhou's kind of like that too. Someone was explaining me the story of Girls Frontline, a Chinese sci-fi gacha game, and it's endless. Yeah. I've heard of I know about Touhou because Touhou's also in that conversation of indie, notable indie games. So I hear about Touhou a lot. And I feel like Touhou's slightly easier to get into because, well, actually, no, that's a lie. Because Touhou is a series of really hard shoot-'em-up games. So what am I saying? It's like, it's kind of like in that vein of like, I feel like if you play those games in their release order, you can get it. It's not impossible. Let's see. Star Trek. I feel like Star Trek's lore is also one of those where the lore is not as complicated than the time you need to spend to get into it. Kind of, because you know, a lot of getting Star Trek's lore is literally just watching the shows. But you can watch them in whatever order that catches your interest. But honestly, it's like, you know, a lot of Star Trek is literally just watching the lore and stuff like that. Yeah, lore is purpose built for each episode arc, so it's not that coherent. Yeah, that's fine because it's an episodic show. Yeah, that's also another thing where, since a lot of that media is episodic, you're not super obligated to stick too hard with it because you have a bunch of different. Since it's all self-contained, you just need to watch an episode and you're pretty much in that good thing. Yeah, Vulcans equal space elves. Yeah, pretty much. Like, we can all lie about it, but it's like, yeah, they're in essence, they pretty much are in terms of just their importance in general of the overall, I guess, importantness of Star Trek, you know. Of course, there's, you know, other aliens and stuff like that, and, you know, the cool relations and things like that. I mean, if you like Mass Effect, everyone just basically, Mass Effect is just the actual best Star Trek game you can find, and that's how people pitch Mass Effect to me. So I'm like, you know what? I'll try it out wherever I can because it's kind of tough to find a Mass Effect game, but I do want to try it out because I hear the first one is exceptional when it comes to, you know, all its sci-fi writing and stuff like that. So I want to at least check that out. I'm not huge into sci-fi, but you know, I would check it out because I would like to see what all the hubbub is about when it comes to, you know, notable game stuff. They kind of bounce off of things like Halo, though. Like I guess Halo didn't really catch me that much, mostly because cooperating with my friend absolutely sucks. My friends are terrible co-op partners, so I kind of have a sour experience with Halo. So let's see, Mass Effect had a bunch of Star Trek actors in it, right? Mass Effect 2 is my favorite because it had a lot of good side stories. Yeah, I hear Mass Effect 2 is also really good with that as well. Having good side stories. Yeah, I feel like I completely missed out in that era, like the 360 era of, I guess, games as well, which is kind of weird because that's also the DS era, basically. I guess I was just busy playing the DS games over, you know, the Xbox 360 games because I couldn't afford an Xbox. Like, I had maybe like $300 I was going to buy, the $150 GameCube, or I would have to make a guess in most games not having any platformers at all. Like, I'm forever mad that there are no platformers kind of just died out because I wouldn't say Rare killed them, but nobody really wanted to make a platform because most of them just suck next to Banjo and Mario. Difficult to really make a well-made 3D platformer. That's likely why they died out. wasn't actually animated. I think that the only thing that's actually left is to feel like the armor needs to be slightly shinier, but that's about it. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is constantly shrinking and growing. I mean, nuts. Other than that, I look at some more. Oh yeah, the other gauntlet doesn't have the love thing. Little here. That here doesn't actually have the white pack. It needs to at least add to that gauntlet. I think I'll just add that and then stream for now because it's currently 9:20. So nearly getting that down. Also, I need to color in the jewels. Yeah. There's so much detail in this, and I think next time I need to either tamp down and like not adding so much detail, or I either charge more for it, or I just be less ambitious with all the animation. Because yeah, this is really small pixel art with fairly complicated armor and really big movement. Okay. Also, a million layers. I have so many layers. Which one is this? Fuck, man. Yeah, this contributes to my slowness because I try to figure out what layer this arm's on. I can never figure out. Okay, you're in the badly deemed effect layer. You're behind the staff because it was the only real way to get the hand behind that staff. Some rigmarole. Hopefully oh, sorry about that. But yeah, it's one of those things where I have made this more complicated than it should be, mostly due to my inexperience of actually making large sprites. So that head could be readjusted. Yeah. Here could be. There are like tiny things I do want to edit, mostly out of personal. Like, I want to animate the fur, but I'm already super burnt out on it. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do. I am not going to stick with this too much. I'm hella tired. Yeah, I think I'm kind of like hitting this point where I'm like running out of steam, so I'll let you for a bit. Still need to readjust this middle part because kind of jitters so much. get in this little jewel spot here. A lot of jewels that aren't. But yeah, so far so good. I'm nearly done, so I'm gonna consider this a pretty one thing. I probably haven't even saved at all with this. I have 30 versions of this. I'm saving in multiple versions of a thing. I always rotate my saves just in case of shenanigans where I'll accidentally over save a thing. But yeah, I think I'll let this go for tonight. I was gonna work on a little bit of Black Mass stuff, but I guess this is just occupying my head. Anyway, I just have you play here some more. And yeah, I think I'll just let go of the stream for now. Thanks for stopping by though. It's been pretty nice, and I'll be streaming again next Wednesday. I think I've just confirmed myself that just fuck it. Wednesdays are my stream days. I can never scrape up the energy to stream any other day but Wednesday, so why not? So yeah, I will see you next week. Let's see if there's anyone that I can raid. I will catch you all. Who's streaming right now? Brother Bastard streaming. Alright, he's playing Borderlands, so why the heck not? He's a musician, so, we'll just raid you there. Anyway, well, have a good night. See you later.